Hey there, this is Faisal. I wanted to do a video on purpose, and I've actually done a video on purpose last time. It's on my YouTube channel, and I was wearing red as well, and that was in nature as well. So every time I come to nature, I feel like I need to find my purpose. But in any case, I came across this beautiful trail on my adventures, and I thought I would talk. I talked about purpose that we create for ourselves within the context of our life, as in we talk about our life and which way did I come from? We talk about our life and we think about what's purposeful to us. And I urge you to watch that video that I did on purpose. There are a lot of mosquitoes here, so I'll try to not twitch too much, and hopefully I won't get lost. But in any case, so that kind of purpose is the purpose that we create for ourselves. So the purpose that we say that, well, something is meaningful to us. We don't know where that comes from, but everybody has this deep interest, or in the things that they're doing, if they actually choose to follow that. So in my case, my deep interest has always been, I feel like, is understanding human behavior and human nature, and I think about it a lot. And within the context of that, a lot of things come into being, like natural processes, religion, philosophy, science, and I have to study all those things to try to figure out what is meaningful to me. And based on that, I create other meanings in my life. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the other side of it, the existential purpose. So is there a purpose for us being alive? Man, that's a loaded question, but I'll give you guys some thoughts that I have on it based on my understanding right now. Well, first of all, I grew up in a religious family. Well, not strictly religious, but with a faith. I was brought up in a Muslim family, and from the beginning, I've always found ways, well, learned to, or not learned to, had the tendency to question things, and I think every child does, but I think I've had to question in a lot of degrees, deeper degrees. I've had to question things just because of my interest in human behavior, and also in natural behavior has been really high, for, at least just because that's my interest. So the more I questioned it, the more I realized that the world and the universe, the cosmos, was bigger than what I was taught within the scope of my society. And along on my journey, I've come across other religions. I've studied Buddhism, philosophy. I've studied Christianity, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, older traditions, in terms of mythology, Mahayana, everything in the Hindu religion. Well, not everything, but I've delved into it as much as I could, in the historical context of it and how that relates to our behavior. And I've tried to go into anthropology and other things. So the more I've studied, the more I've realized that nobody knows anything. and every time you hear somebody say that, well, I know that this is how the universe is and this is your purpose, they're kind of making things up. And the reason they're making things up is, I don't know, we have this weird desire to be certain about things. And a lot of people who study human behavior talk about this, that we have a need to be certain about certain things. So we make up a lot of stories about how the universe is and how our existence is and what is the meaning towards it. That's where religious traditions come from. That's one side of it. But then the other side of it is actually a deeper meaning of those things, that the stories that we talk about, whether it's biblical stories or the older stories of Mahayana and Mahayana is an aspect of a sect of Buddhism, but what I meant was Ramayana and other older stories that we have, which are in the older texts, or any other traditional stories or folklore stories that we pass on. They have a deeper meaning into who we are as human beings, and they all, I feel like, point to certain truths. The Zen teachings are one of the best when it comes to this, from my perspective, I feel like, because what they say is, they have this thing that they say that Buddhism is which then is an aspect of Buddhism, a sect of Buddhism. So it says that Buddhism is the finger pointing to the moon. Don't mistake the finger for the moon. And that's what it is. Almost all our traditions, whether it's philosophy, science, religion, spirituality, they point to the truth. They are not the truth. And our job is in trying to bring together all these traditions to try to answer the questions for ourselves. And what we tend to do is, I mean, if you have an open mind, then you're going to study all of them, or anything you can get your hands on and you have an interest in it, then you're going to try to study it and figure it out for yourself, and you try to get a meaning out of it. Sometimes it's hard, other times it isn't. Other times you feel like you know exactly what you're thinking about, and then at some point some other evidence comes, you're like, oh shoot, I don't know what I'm talking about. In any case, for me, that's an adventure, just like this is an adventure of learning, of self-discovery, of understanding. And when you actually study these things, you find that what we know is so minute. And even the experts who have studied the most of their lives, they will admit to the fact that what we know is so small and so minute that to make the claim that we know, whether it's based on faith or knowledge or understanding, is a very, very egotistic claim. Hopefully I'm going the right path. I think it might be this one. And what that means is that whoever says that I know that this is how existence is, and this is how cosmos is, and this is who God is, and this is my God, that's your God, I mean my God is the true God, or my religion is the true religion, they don't know what they're talking about. And when you add to that another dimension of fear, whenever you hear somebody telling you that I know, and if you don't listen to this or you don't behave in this way, you're gonna do this, well, that's where the bullshit comes in. So what does that mean for human beings? And from my perspective, I feel like the most important thing that I know is I don't know. I really don't know. And the amazing thing is that gives me a very open field of possibilities. And I'm okay with possibilities. You might not be. And that's fine too. But the point here is that, are you operating your life based on a system that perpetuates fear, or it's based on something that encourages understanding, awareness, or possibility? Man, there's a lot of mosquitoes here. And for me, the most important thing has been the concept of possibility, that we live in such a vast cosmos, that and the more and more theories we get out of physics, the more understanding we get out of the universe, the more we philosophize about it and try to make sense of it, the more we realize that the possibilities are much bigger than what we can think about at this time. So we do with what we have, and we'll do more with what we'll have more in the future. So where does that bring us in terms of our purpose? I feel like at this point, for me, my purpose is to know more. That means I have to accept the fact that I don't know. And as soon as I say that I know, then that limits that discovery, that awareness of something that you don't know. That puts me in a limited perspective. So my perspective is that I don't know, and I'll do everything in my power to know. And I think life is that process of self-discovery, of self-awareness, to know who I am outside the context of what I've been taught by my society, by my culture, religion, anything else that comes my way. And to me, that's a very meaningful purpose. Now, do we need to answer the questions like, is there life after death? Is there meaning, a grand meaning that religious people have been talking about? That there's hell, heaven, there's other things on our path? Maybe. Maybe not. but then it's up to each of us to figure out what are the answers to the big questions. Oh, I have somebody. Hello. What are the answers to the big questions? And if all of us, if a great majority of us, it doesn't have to be in the field of philosophy, but in science and arts and music and poetry, the more we go towards that intrinsic need to know more, and that's the other amazing thing, that biologically we want to know more. We're extremely curious, not just for survival, but to be able to thrive. And that's how we've been able to thrive as human beings, is because we've consistently learned to know more as a species and individually. So the more we learn, the better we get at understanding questions, or understanding the answers to questions and creating better questions for ourselves. So until we know some things, which we know very small things, until we know more, we can only say that I don't know. And I think that's a great philosophy to have, and that propels you towards what can we know, what are the possibilities. And that is, to me, is an amazing meaning of life, to learn to know more. And I don't think anybody can exhaust that possibility in one lifetime. So then that opens up a lot of things. That opens up the concept of life after death. That opens up the concept of reincarnation. That opens up the concept of, are there multiple universes? Oh my God, so many mosquitoes. That opens up the possibilities of why these mosquitoes are biting me right now. But it's an amazing possibility. And I think the more we go towards that, the more we can combine our resources and, in a sense, come together as human beings. And maybe that will be what brings us together more than our other beliefs that have failed to do in the past. And I hope you like this video. It was a bit of a rant. And if you have any comments, any thoughts, any ideas, any questions, please post them below, and I'll show you a nice statue of an eagle behind me on this trail. Until my next video, have an awesome day. Bye.